This
Okay,
conference will now be recorded.
super. So we'll just begin the session with a quick questionnaire, guys. Followed by that, we'll look into all the issues that you have. Stuck anywhere, need a screen share, any queries. We'll do that. Okay. But let me start with a quick recap of the topics which we have completed so far. Recap here doesn't mean I'm going to recap. I'm going to only ask you questions, and I want you people to answer on those topics. Okay. I muted everyone. Now let me start. Farheen, can you please tell me about the various pages you find on the clipboard?
Hi Nikhila.
Hello.
So various pages we have is like we have data pages, we have user pages, we have
Mhm.
system pages, we have
Super.
linked. There is one more
Property
I'm missing
pages.
out. Property pages,
Linked
yes.
property pages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Farheen. Thank you. Now let me extend the question to mm Mallikarjun. Will you be able to answer? What is the use of each of these pages, especially user pages and system pages?
I couldn't recollect. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else who can answer? Mallikarjun, please go to the documents as this is a weekend. Please make some time, go to the documents once. Because this is an interview question. Okay, this is an interview question. The clipboard pages is an interview question which you can find frequently being asked in the interviews, so please make sure just to brush up on this. If somebody is giving the answer, go ahead.
I can answer, Nikhila. So, system page
Mhm.
is nothing but it has all the data related to that particular operator, current operator who is accessing that particular application. And user page is
Okay.
nothing but, yeah, it is a page which is created by the user or by the Pega application when we are actually working on the work object.
Okay, super, very good. Just rephrasing the answer, Sindhu. You're almost right, 90% right, just rephrasing. So user pages are the pages which are created by Pega or by the user in the sense like the code that you have written. Okay, it will create the pages to process the work object that is being created by the user. System pages are the pages created by Pega to maintain the current operator session. So it contains your operator details, your application details, your access group info, your requester, your thread, your organization, your division, your unit, everything is going to be maintained under the system pages. Okay.
Got
Now,
it.
Divya, yeah, Sindhu. Okay. So, Divya, can you tell me about a property in Pega? Divya,
Yes, yes, sir. Can you repeat the question?
can you tell me
Hello?
about property in Pega?
Your property is something we create while, if you're creating a section, sorry, if you're creating a section, if you're placing any control, we will map property. It holds the value, it holds the data. It has different types like it has different data type like page list and text. Decimal, boolean value. So it has so many, we can give any data type whatever we want, and also if we want any drop down values, if we want any like local list, we can give in property type itself.
Mhm.
We can we should map the property in the control.
Okay, perfect.
It
Thanks,
holds the
Divya.
it holds the
Exactly right. Thank you so much. Perfect. Now let me go with Bharati. Bharati, are you there?
Yeah, Nikhila.
So, Bharati, can you tell me the relationship between these properties and sections? How do you use property in a section? Where do you use and why do you use it?
Properties we have to map in the section.
Where on the section do you map them? And what happens if you don't map the properties?
If you don't map the properties, it will not store in the DB.
Right, it will not store the data, maybe on the clipboard, maybe on the database. End of the day, data is not getting stored, data is not being captured. So, whatever the data is entered by the user, you will just lose it because you're not
Yes,
storing it anywhere, neither on the clipboard nor on the database. Because initially it will go to clipboard, from the clipboard, it will travel to DB. So, first it comes to the clipboard. On the clipboard, you will store on the form of pages in the properties. Okay, so it will not be captured. Now, where are you mapping the property in the section?
The
Did
data
you do
model.
data model?
In the
Suresh,
field,
are you sure?
fields,
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 controls.
enemy claim.
Right, on the controls, the exact word is controls. Text box, text area, drop down, radio button, calendar control. What are all these controls? Okay, so these are called as controls. So on the controls, you're mapping the properties. Right, Bharti?
yes, yes,
So
Nikhil.
did you do practicals or you yet to do?
Yeah, I did, Nikhila. Sorry.
Okay, just okay, no problem. Okay, thanks, Bharti. Thank you. Now, uh, Deepika, can you tell me what is the relationship between this properties, sections, flow actions, flow, and case type? How do you map all these things?
Yeah,
Properties,
Nikhila.
sections, yeah, please go ahead.
Uh, Sections on the flow action. Sections are under
Sections
the
on
flow
under
action.
the flow action. Okay,
Flow actions on the flow.
perfect. Okay,
Flow under the case types.
perfect. Now, how about the properties? Where are the properties coming in the picture here?
Yeah, I think it's under screen.
Yeah, in the section on the controls. Control means
Yeah.
text boxes, drop downs, radio buttons, all these things are controls. URL, images, videos, whatnot. Whatever you keep on the screen, those are all controls. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Deepika. Now, Gauri Shankar, are you there? Gauri?
Yes, Nikhila.
Okay, I just have a question. Suppose I want to create a section, a flow action, a flow manually, not from the case type explorer. I want to create it manually. How will I do it?
Yeah. First, we need to create a properties, and then from the App Explorer under the user interface, we need to create a section. And in the
Okay,
section, we need to place the properties, and
okay.
and under the data model, we can create flow actions.
No, no,
In
no,
the
no.
flow,
Data model, data means properties. Data model holds
oh, sorry,
properties. Flow
sorry,
action
under
and
the
flow comes under different category. Which one?
yeah process. Under
Right, perfect.
the times we will have process. In the
Hmm.
process we will have the flow action. In the flow action we will place the section, and finally
Right.
in the we will place the flow action in the flows. We will, if it is a connector flow or just a local flow, we will place it.
Mm-hmm. Connected and local are flow actions. What are the
Flow
types
action.
of flows we have? Types of flows? Screen flow and process flow,
Ah,
right?
yeah,
If
screen
it is
flow
a
and
process flow, you keep it
process.
on the connector of the assignment shape. If it is a
Yeah,
screen flow, directly on the assignment shape, you will be placing it. Again, this
yeah,
point is a very important interview question. Where do you map flow actions on the flow? If it is a screen flow, if it is a process flow. If it is a screen flow, flow actions are present on the assignment shape itself. If it is a process flow, on the assignment outgoing connector, you will place the flow actions. Okay.
yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gauri. Perfect. Now, Kalpana, were you in the session yesterday? Or did you watch yesterday's session recording? I have some questions related to yesterday's. Kalpana, are you there? Connecting the session and not being attentive. Okay, I have a question, guys. Let's see who can answer. Let's say I went to the App Explorer. I created a flow. Okay, I saved it. Now I come to the case type. I click on any stage and I say add process. I should find the list of flows. Okay, my flow which I created under the App Explorer is not visible here. What should I do to make it visible?
We need to
Make
make it as
relevant
mark
record.
relevant record. And in
Perfect.
actions, we have to select mark as relevant record.
Mark as
Thank you.
relevant record.
Exactly. Thank you, Sneha and Bhargavi. You have to mark it as relevant record, guys. Only then rules which are created manually in the App Explorer will be visible in the case type. This is applicable not only to the flows, even to the fields, sections, flow actions, anything. Let's say you went to App Explorer, you created a flow action. Now you come to the case type and you say, you click on add step and you say more, your flow action is not visible. Just go to the flow actions and say mark as relevant record. Only then it will be visible. Same thing with the fields, the properties. They're not visible. Go mark them as relevant record, come back to the case type, they'll be visible. Okay. So remember, if your rules are not found, just make sure you mark them as relevant record. Now, Chandra, are you in the session, Chandra?
Yes, yes, Nikhil.
Chandra, can you tell me how can I create bulk properties? Instead of right clicking on the class and saying data model property, is there any other easy way to create bulk properties?
But I know, but I did not practice. Why? Because I'm in back. Up to
Okay,
four or
okay,
five only, 5 videos only.
okay.
This
But
this
do
Friday
you
I will
remember
be.
the navigation? Do you remember the navigation by any chance?
I will try.
Okay. You want to check and let me know?
Good. Uh,
Okay, no
can you
problem, Chandra.
show?
Just please.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
no problem.
Hmm.
Nikhil, will you be able to answer this?
Nikhil,
Nikhil.
no Nikhil. Which Nikhil? Me or there are two Nikhils, right?
Oh, is it? I only see you.
Okay. No, this one I'm a little unsure about. This particular one I don't
Okay.
know. Sorry.
Were you in the session yesterday, Nikhil?
No, I was not in the session yesterday.
Okay, okay. Padmini, can you please answer this?
Nikhil, can give it a try. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure, sure, please, Suresh.
Data model
Hello.
once you write, it says create properties.
Mm-hmm.
On the create
Right,
properties screen, I think, and go ahead and
right,
do
exactly right, Suresh. So if you just right click on the data model, there is something called as create properties. Instead of going create new property, you have another option called as create properties, or you can go with view in data designer. Let me show you. So generally, how do you create a property? You go over here and you say create property. Instead, say create properties. You can create all the properties in one go in bulk. You can create from here. Okay, click on add field and you can keep creating your properties. Or you can even right click on the class and say view in data designer. You will land on the same screen and you can create the bulk properties. Okay, so yesterday somebody was worried in the WhatsApp group saying that the properties that he created manually, some of them are not visible here. Okay, that is expected. Manually created properties will not be visible here. Only properties created from the configure view in case type will be visible here. Okay, but that is okay. Your properties are still there, right? Even if they're not visible here, they're still there. Okay, so no big deal. And just in case if you created a rule and the rule is not visible under your class. Okay, you expanded that category, but still the rule is not visible. Just make sure you refresh it. Even after refresh my rule is not visible, then do one thing. Go to Records Explorer. Here you will see all the rules grouped by rule type. Okay, so all properties here, properties of every class, not only your class, all classes will be found here. See, all Pega classes like this, you'll find them.
Nikhila, Nagraj here.
Yes, 784 pages you can see. Yeah, let me complete this, Nagraj, 1 minute. Not only properties, let's say I have created a section. Somehow I'm not able to find my section. I'm 100% sure I saved it. I went to my class, I expanded user interface, I couldn't find it. I refreshed the app explorer, still I couldn't find it. Come here and just check here. Okay, you'll find it. So all the sections at one place, all the properties at one place, all the flows and flow actions at one place. So irrespective of the class, based on rule type, you will see all the rules here. So you can find it here. Maybe you created in a wrong class. Okay, so you can just check all your rules from the Records Explorer. Okay. Yes, Nagraj, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, Nikhila, when we created properties in some other class, but I want to map those properties to my class. So, is there any other way? Because in case type, you have showed that option. Other than that option, any other option is there from here?
Always remember any rule which is present in any of your inherited class, I mean, like parent classes, you can always trigger them in the current class. Like if you see here, I'm trying to map a property. This is my current class work dash claims.
Okay.
Scroll down, you will see more. Click on that. My parent classes will start coming here. See, my parent class is work dash cover dash. It's coming. Means in between there are no properties. In between, HDFC Fin EC doesn't have any properties. HDFC Fin doesn't have any properties. HDFC doesn't have any properties. So finally, I went to work dash cover dash. And if you see work dash and so on, if you'll just end up with at the rate base class finally. So all your parent class rules will appear like this. You can take anything from the parent classes. It is applicable not only to properties but to any rule in Pega. Let's say for example I'm going for a flow action. I want to map a section which is present in my parent class. Click on more. You can see your parent class sections. So like this all your parent class sections will be visible. Same thing with the flow action. Take any flow, double click because this is screen flow. I'm doing it on the assignment shape. More. So like this, any parent class rule you can plug in. Just make sure it is your parent. That's it.
So you mean to say I need to take my class from here, from the drop down option. Am I right?
No, no, no. You can take any of your parent classes also. Suppose you want to reuse the rule which is there in your parent class. You can reuse it. See, suppose there's a section called as approve in my parent class. I want to use it. I can use it. See, it is from the work dash class of Pega. It is not mine. I can take it.
Okay. So
So
you mean to
Nikhila,
say,
if it
sorry, ma'am.
Let Nagraj complete, guys. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Nikhila, my question is like, what are the properties we have created here? Immaterial of the class thing. It will be in my parent class only. Am I right? That is my understanding.
Why it will go to parent class when you created in the current class? It
No,
will be
no.
in the current class only.
In the current class only. Like if I want to map anything, I can map here and there. You mean to say?
Uh, Here and there in the sense, parent cannot reuse the child class rules. Child can reuse the parent class rules. That is how inheritance works, right?
Yes.
So anything which is there in any of my parent classes, I can use. So claims class can reuse the properties, sections, flow actions, and flows of any of these classes.
No, if for example I created some properties in other class, then how to map those properties into my
You can't.
claims?
You can't map. That is not possible. Only anything which is there in any of your parent classes you can reuse. Something which is present in a sibling class or some other class which does not fall under your inheritance, you cannot reuse. Not only property, no rules you can reuse if they don't fall in your inheritance.
Okay, okay. But
You have to recreate.
yeah, Nikhila, my just one more so small question from this only.
Mhm.
Nikhila, like if I want to take the property, like how to map? Could you show me the parent class how to take here in the option you
When
showed
you
just
click
now?
on more, you will find it. See, I'm creating one property in my parent. Okay, data model, property.
Okay, test. Okay,
I created a
label
property
test.
called as test. Now take any of your sections.
Test. Okay. So you're
Oh, I
taking
don't
dot
know.
test.
No, this is already present in the child as well. 1 minute. Let me remove the child test property. So
Just
you
I
can
want to
see
see
the class
practical.
here.
That's why I'm asking you. I don't want to waste time.
Let me remove. Let me remove the test of the child. You can see the class. It is coming from the child class. There is 1 minute. You can see this is coming from Fin EC work parent class, whereas your current class is EC work claims. So like this, you can reuse the properties of the parent class. Not only properties, any rule from your inherited parent classes you can use.
Okay, you're taking dot test. Is the right way? Because
Hey, properties are always referenced with a dot, right?
um, I'm not a technical guy. I'm a functional guy. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay. No, we have been working on this from the last 3 days, right? Properties we always refer with a dot. It's mandatory. Whenever you use a property, there should be a dot in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Because I
Didn't
created
start
property.
practicals yet?
I have done till the banking, but I have not yet started my this thing actually because I've not mapped properties.
Properties yet? Okay. Properties are always referenced with a dot.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Okay, super.
Nikhila, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Nikhila, when we create a process from case type automatically, we are getting a flow at the end as a flow at the end.
That
But
is
when we are
expected.
creating it, but it is not seen when you have created a flow. So that's what my doubt is. Why
See,
is
when
that
you
only
create,
for me it is coming, or it's coming for everyone? It's by default. It will take. Hmm.
no, no, no. It is like, there are two ways to create from the case type rule, right? See, if you go to the case type rule, okay, let's say I went here and I say add process, new process. Okay, I would like to call it as, test flow one. Okay, save my changes. Just come to your app explorer, refresh it. Flows come under process category, process flow. Okay, test flow one, there is no underscore flow. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll create another one, like, I'm just directly going here and I'm saying like this. This is just test. Okay, so now I did it in a different way. I created a new stage. I just clicked on plus step. I didn't do the way that I did earlier. I didn't do from here add process, right? What I did is I just took a new stage like this. Okay, I went here and I said collect information and I'm just naming it as test 2. Okay, or you can see there's a name here. test 2. Okay, save your changes, test and test 2. Okay, now if you go back to the App Explorer and refresh, see, test underscore flow. Test 2, why it didn't get, it should also get, maybe I renamed it, right? That could be the reason. Yeah, by default it got alternate stage 1. I renamed it, so they took test 2. Otherwise it would have been the same, alternate stage 1 underscore flow. So that underscore flow word comes into the picture if you do like this. You click the stage and you say add step and you do like this, then the flow gets created, right? So this flow will have that word underscore flow. Whereas if you go like this and you say add process, new process, then that underscore flow word will not get appended. Okay. So
Okay.
that is the difference. Just the way that you created is the difference, nothing much.
Okay, Nikhila, thank you.
Any other queries, guys, before we resume the session?
Hello, Nikhila. Actually, I have a doubt.
No.
I
Yes,
don't know
please.
is it my error or else the whole means the version thing. Could you please
Hmm.
open once the flow of Visa chargeback? Visa chargeback.
Okay. Hmm.
Uh, and here, if you if you see the connector, here we can see Visa's chargeback, right? So, but for me it is not coming. But if I go through the mapping,
Oh.
uh, but if I go through the mapping,
So you're saying on the
I can
connector this label is not coming, right?
yes.
Okay. So
For me
guys,
it's not
if the
coming.
if the label is not coming on the connector, if the label is not coming on the assignment shape, or if the label is not coming on any of these shapes, please understand that it is just a label. It has nothing to do with your mapping. Okay. So this is the label. This is the actual rule. Okay. So maybe in your case, this label is not present. That's the reason it is not visible. Okay. So
Oh,
you can
okay,
see
okay.
I took another connector, see it is empty. Okay. Now, whereas if I see it is written just flow action, whereas if I write something like this, I submit, you will see that something. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
again, many people make a mistake. They will write down the rule name here. Let's say it is by the Visa chargeback. They'll write down the rule name here, and they say, Nicola, I'm not getting the flow action, although I mapped it. Here, this is not mapping. This is just a label. This is important, right?
Okay, okay. Yep,
So this is
yep.
just a
Thank you.
label. Okay. Perfect.
Yes. Thank you.
Nikhil, I have a query.
Yes, please.
So here, while creating a either work object or any web UI process, so we start from the section itself, section flow, I mean flow
Properties. We
actions.
start with the properties. Properties sections, flow actions, and then flow.
So by labeling the each type, can we title it as same or we need to change the different naming?
Not necessary. It is the best as per best practice. We try to name them the same, so that when you
Okay,
search, you will find all the rules with the same name. It is easy, right? See,
okay,
if I say
yes,
visa chargeback, I have a flow, I have a flow action, I have section. Like this, I find everything, so it's easy for me. Now it
okay,
depends
Nikhil,
on developer, right? Now the choice is yours. How do you name? It's
okay,
better if you give the same name.
definitely, thank you.
Any other questions before we resume today's topics?
Hi, Nikhila. Can we reuse the
Hello.
properties of other classes which you just explained to Nagras? Apart from that inheritance, if we mention the class in the pages and classes and page name also, can we
Then that is
reuse?
not reusability, right? That is referring. So if we refer to the properties of other class, that is possible. We are not reusing it. We are only referring to them. So you will learn all that once we start activities. You will get to know all those things.
Okay. Thank-
Hi Nikhila.
Hello.
So on stages we will create the flows, but
Right.
when we click on steps, so which flow it will create, process or screen?
Always
Because
process flow. Always process flow.
okay,
Until and unless you explicitly take this multi-step form, it's always by default process flows.
Thank you.
Okay, now, guys, please pause your questions. Those of you who have more questions, please pause it. I'll take up towards the end of the training. Again, it's extremely important to be a part of the live training because most of you are not in sync with the sessions, right? Although we are doing only 3 sessions per week, okay, still you are not in sync with your hands on. But at least if you are a part of the live training, this 2 to 3 hours, you will learn the new concept and you will not have that lagging effect on you. Okay, so please make sure you sit in the live sessions and do not rely on the recordings. Okay, now let me move ahead with the new concept today. So today we are going to cover something which is pending on your properties. Okay, so we only learned about a property. Okay, and I only taught you about data type of the property and how to map it in the sections. We didn't cover this part, types of properties in Pega. So let me cover that. Okay, types of properties, very important from the interview point of view. There are two types of properties, single valued and multi valued. Coming to single valued means here you will have only one property with one or more values in it. Okay, you will have only one property with one or more values under it. Whereas multi valued means you will have multiple properties with multiple values under them. Now let's see much in detail. First, coming to single valued, let's say name is a property, Nikhila is a value. So this is a property, this is the value. This is single valued. Okay. Now I want to store the phone number. So I want to store phone of home, phone of office, phone of some alternate mobile number I want to store. I don't want to create multiple properties for that, like phone underscore one, phone underscore two, phone underscore three. I don't want to create multiple properties, whereas I want to store it like an array. So, how we store in Pega is phone of in brackets number one, first number, in brackets number two, second number, in brackets number three, third number. So, some people may give you 5 numbers, some people may give you only 2 numbers, some may give you 3 numbers. So, no need to create multiple properties, just you increase the subscript. The one that is written inside the brackets is called as subscript. So you keep increasing the subscript and you store as many phone numbers as you want. One primary phone number, one alternate phone number, one office phone number, one home landline extension. So you can store like this as many properties as you want by just increasing the subscript. So instead of creating a new property again, we are just storing like this. Just a second, guys. Okay, so we store like this, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now, why are we not creating multiple properties? It is just wasting the memory. Okay, so you're just wasting the memory and you're wasting the space. Why do you want to create multiple properties? Just maintain one single property and increase the subscript. Okay, phone of one, phone of two, phone of three. Some persons will have only phone of one and phone of two. Some will have phone of one, two, three. Some will have only phone of one. So, like that, you increase or decrease and you store the data rather than creating multiple properties. Similarly, suppose I want to store address. If I say address of one, address of two, address of three, it doesn't make any sense. Instead, I can write billing address, shipping address, something like that. So in the subscript, you can even give text, not only integers, you can also give text and we store the data. Now in the whole concept, if you see, name is only one property. I have only one value. Phone number is only one property. I have three values under it. Address is only one property. I have two values under it. So if you see this, these are single valued. They only have one property, but they'll have one or more values under them. Okay. Such properties are called as single valued properties. They'll have only one property, but one or more values under them. Have a look at this example, guys, and let me know if you have any queries on this. So if somebody asks you about single valued properties, remember these examples, then you will be in a position to narrate the theory for it.
Any limit to it, Nikhila? Like how many values we can store?
You mean under this subscript?
Yeah.
As many subscripts as you want, you can give phone of one, phone of two, phone of three, phone of four, phone of five, phone of six, like this, and so on.
Okay. Thank you.
Here, how do we define the phone of three if I want on the section? I mean, in the
In the
control.
UI,
Yeah.
in the UI, right? See, value list, we there is a different way to display. We don't display it like that. Okay, I'll teach you how do you display and all. I'll show you.
Hi, Nikhila. Any initialization
Hello.
required for the subscript?
Not required. Directly you start with one, two, three.
Okay.
Unlike in Java, it doesn't start with zero. If there are any Java people, guys, it doesn't start with zero in Pega. It starts with one.
So Nikhila, under address, column, you'll have like all the billing address, shipping address, all these three will have the same properties.
Right, they'll have the same properties. I mean, like address is the property name. So address of billing will have some data. Address of shipping will have some other data. So again, you will not separate like what is flat number, what is state, what is city. You will not separate. The whole content comes under address. That's it.
Yeah, if it is billing address, you'll give all the other like got it. Yeah.
So is it sort of free text, Nikita? I can write
Yeah,
anything. There is no fixed
right. You can
format.
write anything there.
Okay.
Nikhila, can you please show us one example where you can consider address billing and address shipping? If you can show something on the UI.
See, these things, we store them in a different way and display them in a different way on the UI. Okay, I'll come back to the display part. First, let me
Okay.
complete the theory, guys. I'll show you the display
Okay.
again.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
Now, what are three subtypes under single valued? Again, single valued has three subtypes under them: value, value list, value group. So, if somebody asks you, tell me about the types of properties you have in Pega. So, you have two types: single valued and multi valued. Under single valued, again, you have three subtypes: value, value list, value group. Okay, value means it's only one property and one value. So, like the example that I told you, name is equal to Nikhila. One property, one value. Value list means the second example that I have taught you. It is like an array. It can store multiple values. Index is always an integer and it is a sequential number like phone of 1, phone of 2, phone of 3, and so on. It's a sequential number. Then you say it is a value list. Value list means it's an array. The subscript is a sequential number. Value group, same answer. It's an array, but the subscript is a text. And this is not a sequential number. It is unordered list. This is ordered list. Here it is 1, 2, 3. Here you give whatever you want, you will give like this. Okay. So single valued has three subtypes: value, value list, value group. Value means one property, one value. Value list, it's an array. Subscript is an integer. Sequential number. I don't start with 1 and then I go to 10 and then 20. No. It's a sequential number. It has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Value group. I don't want to use this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. I want to give my own custom text. So then we go for value group. In that case, you write down whatever you want. And this need not be a text only. It can even be a number, but that will not be the sequential order. Okay, like you can give employee ID here. Employee ID is a number, but not necessarily a sequential number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It may be something like 1000567. something like that. So value group means it's an array, it's a collection of values, but the subscript is not an integer, it's a text. Okay, and this is unordered list.
Nikhila, I'm sorry. Could you explain what is this sequential number and following order? I'm not getting that.
Sequential numbers, sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they go in a sequence.
Okay, just
Here
naming,
it is not a
naming.
sequence.
Okay, just naming
This
them.
one.
Okay, okay,
Right.
got it. Okay.
So you have this number is auto generated by Pega. So when you store the first one, they give one. When you store the second one, they give two, three. So this number is auto generated. Whereas here, this is not auto generated by Pega. You have to mention the subscript. This is mobile, this is office, this is home. You have to mention the subscripts. Okay.
Yes,
So
Nikhila,
this
yes,
is
yes.
Hmm?
Hi Nikhila. This is like collection, right? We are adding item to collection, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a collection, right?
Okay. Anytime we can add dynamically some item to this collection. There is no restriction,
Exactly.
right?
There is no restriction. You can add as many phone numbers as you want here or here.
Okay. Not like array. It's something similar to list, isn't it?
This is an array only, right? Here the
Okay.
subscript is an integer. Here it is a no text.
Okay. Okay. So value list also we can add item anytime dynamically whenever we want,
Exactly.
but in the order.
Right.
But in the order.
But
Correct?
in the order, in the sequence, right?
Order.
You
Okay.
can
In the
append
sequence.
any time, but make sure it is in a sequence.
Sequence. Okay.
So
Okay.
when you append, automatically Pega will generate the next number. Whereas in this case, when you append, you have to mention what is the text inside the brackets.
I mean, small question here, Nikhil.
Sure.
Yeah, when we say array, right? I mean, we just need to
Mhm.
define the size of the array also, right? Is that compulsory in
No,
Pega
no,
when
no,
we
no.
are
It is not
talking about it?
required in Pega. No, it's not required. We don't
Okay.
define the size of the value lists or value groups.
No,
That
why
is
I'm
not the
asking
case.
is, if you don't declare, we will get
Mm.
arrays out of bound exception, right? I mean, since it is on the Java background, right?
Right. See, that comes into the picture for us only when we go on the negative scale or when we try
Okay.
to refer something which is not present, we get those kind of exceptions. But in
Okay.
Pega, it is not required to define the size of the array.
I will. Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Okay. Now this is about single valued properties. Okay, so we have two types of properties in Pega, single valued and multi-valued. In all single valued, you'll only have one property and multiple values under them. So under single valued, there are three subtypes: value, value list, value group. Value means one property, one value. Value list, it's a array. In the brackets, you will see a sequential number. Value group, it's an array. In the brackets, you will see a text. Okay, so that is a difference because sometimes you're not happy with numbers. If I say phone of one, phone of two, phone of three, how do I know which is mobile, which is landline, and which is office extension? So if you want to store it in a better way, you can store it with text. If you're okay with this, you can store this way. Okay, so this is how you do it. Now, coming to multi-valued, here you will have multiple properties, multiple values. So how do we do that? Let's see. There are three subtypes again here: page, page list, page group. Exactly like the above one: value, value list, value group. Here, page, page list, page group. Now, what is the difference? Page, just like a white page in a book. Okay, so you can have multiple properties and multiple values. See, this is your page, right? You have been working with clipboard. This is a page. I have multiple properties, multiple values. All these are properties, all these are values. Now, what is this? Page. So, this is a page. Multiple properties, multiple values. The best example I can see for a page is open the database. Take any table. I will just go with your operators table. Okay. Now, this is first record of data, right? Okay. For which operator? Administrator@pega.com. This is nth record of data for which operator? Nikhila@goibibo.com. Now, if I pull this record of data into Pega on the clipboard, I will see a page which contains a property px commit datetime with this value, px saved datetime with this value, create datetime this value, operator name Nikhila, px create operator nikhila@goibibo.com. So one single record in the database is a page for me in Pega, right? This single record of data in the database is a page for me in Pega. If you say this, the same thing is what I'm seeing here. Commit date time, create operator name. Everything is nothing but the one that is you're seeing here. See px name. Everything, whatever you see here is what you see there.
Then single value will be, I mean, single cell will be like a value then we
Exactly.
are
Single cell is nothing but a value, right? So you can see px name, Nikila. Same thing here. Okay, so one whole record of data is nothing but one single page. One whole record of data is one single page. That is page. And every single column is a value. Value list, value group, right? So every single column is a value. There is no value list here. Every single column you see here is a value. Okay, then what is value list? Sorry, what is page list? Page list is nothing but a collection of pages with the same name, and index is a subscript. Let me show you on the clipboard. Then you will understand better. Mm, yes, this one. See this? PX ruled references of 1. It has some properties, some data. PX ruled references of 2. PX ruled references of 3, of 4, of 5. How do I know this is a page list and not a value list? This is a page list because it has multiple properties. If it is a value list, it will be like this. Only one property. PY user roles of 1, PY user roles of 2, PY user roles of 3. Like phone of 1, phone of 2, phone of 3. Okay? Take this one. This is a value list. How about page list? You will see like this. Multiple properties. Multiple properties. Multiple properties like this. Now look from the database point of view. If it is one single record of data, page. If it is multiple rows of data, page list. So if I want to pull only Nicholas data from the database, I need a page on the clipboard to store Nicholas first name, last name, email ID, contact, manager details, XYZ. I need a page. If I want the entire team details, the whole team who is working on this project, I want everybody's details, I need page list. Page of 1 will contain Nicholas details. Page of 2 will contain Rajesh details. Page of 3 will contain Farheen's details. Page of 4 will contain Lakshmi's details. So like this, page list means multiple records in the database. Okay. So if it is only Nikhila's data, I need a page. If it is multiple users data, I need a page list. So page list will be like this. The page name followed by the subscript like this. Now if you see in my Word document, I wrote it for employee data. So employee data of 1, for employee Radhika, I have pulled some data. Employee data of 2, another employee. Employee data of 3, another employee. Like this. This is page list. Page group, exactly the same concept. Just this, instead of 1, 2, 3, you will write some text like this. That's it.
Nikhila, just
But
naming
take
is
a
different for
minute.
page list and page group.
The subscript is different.
That's it. Subscript only. There's only different.
Right.
Nothing else.
Exactly like value list and value group, right? What is the difference between these two? Only subscript. This is a sequential number. This is a text. Same thing here. This is a sequential number. This is a text. Okay. Take a minute time. Go through this page list, page group once, and let me know if you have any questions.
Hi, Nikla. I have one doubt.
Yes,
So,
please.
in a page list in the first subscript, is there any possibility we can include value list in one page list? Like we have page list
Yes,
one,
you
2, 3,
can.
4. Like
Yes, you can do
we can.
that. You can do
Okay.
that. Up under a page, you can have value list.
Okay. Thank you.
Super.
Nikhila, can I say the column as from the derivatives, the column as values and rows as page?
Right. Exactly, you're right. So, like you told, guys, if you take a database table, every single column is a value. Okay. Whereas one single row is a page. Collection of rows is a page list. Collection of rows with subscript as a text is a page group. Yes, please go ahead.
Could you please explain page list and page group again with one more example?
There's a lot of disturbance on your side. Your voice is not audible.
Could you please explain page list and page group with one more example?
Mm, okay. Okay. Look at this data. Okay. If you take one single row of data, okay, it is a page. If you take multiple rows of data, it can be a page list or a page group. Now, how do I decide it is a page list or a page group? Suppose on the clipboard I'm storing it as browse plans of 1, first row of data, browse plans of 2, second row of data, browse plans of 3, third row of data. It is a page list. Whereas I'm storing it as browse plans of in the brackets 28 days, browse plans of in the brackets 56 days, Browse plans of in the brackets 84 days, and I stored the data, then it is a page group. Now do you
Okay.
understand?
Yeah, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
super. Anyone else? Any questions on
Nikhila?
page group? Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so the group is like a unique value, right?
Group
Page
or
group.
list, both will have the
I
same
mean, like,
data inside them. Only
no,
thing
no,
is
what I
that
mean is,
subscript is not a sequential number. You can give
no, no,
whatever
no.
you want.
Okay, no, no, no. What I mean is, a subscript is a unique thing, right? For every each
Right, it is
and
here also it is unique, right? One, two, three. You
yeah.
can't have multiple twos, multiple threes. It's not possible. Just that this is a sequential number. This is not sequential. You give whatever you wish here.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Okay. Now, one more important thing, guys. We cannot display value list value group on the sections. As somebody was asking me in the beginning, I just wanted to tell you at the ending. Value list and value groups, we do not have any controls to display them in the UI. We can only display page list, page groups, and values. Value list and value group, we only store and we use them. Displaying them on the sections is not possible. We do not have any controls which can display them. Only pages, page groups, and values we display on the screens. Okay. We only capture the data, we only set the data, and we store it in the DB. How we store and all, I'll explain you. Okay. For now, please try to understand the difference between value list, value group, and page list, and page group. Okay. So value means only one property. Name is equal to Nikhila. Phone number is equal to 12345. That is value. Value list is phone of one, phone of two, phone of three. Value list. Page gr- Value group, phone of some text. Value group. And here all it is only one property, which means only one column in the DB table. Only one column in the DB table is value list, value groups. How about page list, and page groups? They are rows in the DB table. If you take one single row, it is a page. If you take multiple rows, it's a page list. If you take multiple rows with a subscript as a text, it's a page group.
Hi, Nikhila.
Hello.
Hi. Actually, when I see one work object information in one page is called page. If
Perfect.
I see collection of work object IDs in a page called page list or page group, isn't it?
Exactly right. Just not only work object ID, multiple data you should maintain, like work
Hmm.
object ID, work object creation date time, work object save date time, work object created by operator details, like multiple date, properties you have to see. Only then we call it as a page list, and page groups, not just one property.
Okay.
If it is one property, it is this like this. It's a value list.
Value list. Okay.
Okay. Now we'll move.
There are
Mhm.
different types also Java object I could see when we are creating a property
Right.
like
So we don't deal with them much, guys. Only people who do customization, who use Java code, and then they use those property types. Generally, in day-to-day life, we don't use them. So what you use is only what I'm teaching you. So most of the times we only use these types: value list, value group, page list, page group. The rest of the Java related ones we don't use until unless you're doing something out of the box, customizing it, and you're doing, then those people use it. So when you create a property, you can see here, guys, value can be any of these, single value. Okay. Value list, value group is here. Page list, page group here. Java, only people who deal with Java, writing any custom code and doing all that, they will end up using all these things. Okay, 99% you will deal only with these things. Okay, so value is here, value list is here, value group is here, page is here, page list is here, page group is here. Now if I say value list, it's just asking me what type of data you're storing. Okay, if you say value group, the same. Whereas if you say a page, it'll ask you page definition. What is page definition? It's asking you the name of the class. Okay, page list, name of a class. Page group, name of a class. Why is that so? Because if you say page, page list, and page groups, okay, you're storing multiple, multiple properties, right? So now Pega wants to know which class properties you want to keep on that. Okay, so do you want to keep the properties of, okay, so which class properties you want to keep on that, they're asking you. So that is the reason we need to mention the class names. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, so like this, you have to mention the class names. So why do you mention the class names of page, page list, and page group? Because it is storing one single row of data. So which class, which tables row of data you want to store, you have to mention. So it is not necessary that my property is created under work dash claims class. So my page should belong to work dash claims. No, it is not necessary. That is not the case. So my page can belong to any of the classes it can belong to. So you can create a page property in work dash claims class, which can fetch the data from any XYZ class. Any class it can fetch the data. Okay. So why, how, and all you will learn as we keep doing the practicals. Any questions so far, guys, on single valued or multi-valued?
When you say any class means it doesn't mean that to follow inheritance, right?
Right. You need not follow inheritance here because you're just only referring the data here. It is only data reference. You're not inheriting from them, you're only referring the data from those classes. So you can take from any class, need not be your inheritance classes. Okay. So I'll teach you how does that work and all. I'm going to teach you. Any questions so far, guys? Okay. If not, please take a break for 10 minutes. Okay. We'll come back and we'll learn data classes. After learning data classes and these classes, then I will teach you the examples of page list, page groups, value lists, and value groups. Okay. So take a break. It is almost 8:15. Let's connect back at 8:25 and we'll resume with a new topic. Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm back. Just a minute. We just started. So any queries on types of properties, value, value list, value group, page, pages, page group? Anybody, any queries?
Nikhila,
Yes, Divya.
you have said like in section we can refer only page group. You said something, right? Can you tell that?
Page, page list, page group, and normal single valued you refer. Value list and value group we don't refer.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now we'll move to the next topic. Only after that, I'll teach you the implementation of this page list, page groups, and these things. So next topic is on data classes. Okay. So till today, you have been working with Recent Explorer. Recent Explorer means whatever you opened recently, you will find them here. Case type explorer, you have built a case type rule and you're doing all the things here. App explorer, your current class and the rules you'll find here. Records explorer, all the rules grouped by rule type you will find here. Favorites, you can mark any rule as a favorite rule, then you will find it here. Okay. Suppose, let's say, for example, take any property, any section, any flow action, any flow, whatever, just you can go here and say add to favorites. If you do that, like anything which you use frequently, you can bookmark here. Favorites is like just like bookmarking. So once it is done, you will find it here. Okay. So now I'm going to teach you this data type explorer. Okay, you can see the favorites. Okay. So now I'm going to teach you about data type explorer. And here we go. We start with data classes in Pega. So you know that at the rate base class is the topmost class in Pega, right? If you look at the inheritance of any of your classes, you will end up at the rate base class only. It is the topmost class in Pega and this is an abstract class because this is important to know from interview point of view that at the rate base class is an abstract class. Now, under this you have a lot of child classes. Under at the rate base class, you have a lot of child classes like. So these are all built-in classes of Pega. Okay. So this is the topmost class. Under this, you can see you have assign dash, code dash, data dash, int dash, log dash, Pega dash, like this rule dash, work dash. Lot of child classes are there. Now I'll be teaching you some of the important classes which you work on day-to-day life. Some of them are first work dash class. Okay. Please remember that everything that you create today in a Pega application is inheriting from any of these classes. Okay. Every property you create, every section you create, every flow action you create, every flow you create, because I have only taught you these rules, I'm talking about them. But every single rule you create in Pega is coming from any of these OOTB classes only. It is an instance of those classes. Now, first, let's talk about work classes and data classes in detail. What is a work class? Anything which comes from the work dash class of Pega, we call it as a work class. Now, if you go to your application classes, this is called as work class. Why? Look at the inheritance. It is coming from the work dash class of Pega. So we call it as work classes. So if somebody says, can you tell me about the work classes in your application? You have to talk about your work class names. Work classes means which inherit from the work dash class of Pega. Okay. Then what is the other type of class we deal with frequently? Data classes. Remove the word work because work and data are siblings. You see data classes in your application like this. Now, why do you have two different types of classes? We'll talk about it. Look at the inheritance. They come from data dash class of Pega. Now, why do I have two separate classes, work, data, like this? The reason is we want to separate the rules and the data repositories. See, work classes means they should only contain business rules, like they should contain flows, user interface rules, validations, reports, etc. like this. So, work classes will only contain flows, UI means sections, flow actions, and all that, validations, reports, SLAs, XYZ. So, like this, all business rules will be present in your work classes. How about data classes? They are just like DB tables. Okay, so data classes are just like DB tables. So you create a class, you will tag a table to it, you will store some content in it, and later you will retrieve the content and display on the screen during the work object processing. Such tables or such classes are called as data classes. Let me give you an example of Paytm. So in order to display the screen in Paytm, I have to create a section, flow, action, flow, and case type, right? Now, if I enter a wrong mobile number and I click on, something like this, I get a validation. So this has to be written in the work classes. Just allow me a minute, guys. This has to be written in the work classes. Similarly, if I don't complete the recharge in 2 minutes, the session will expire or I'll get some error. That is SLA. That is a business rule which falls under a work class. So these kind of things we create in the work classes. How about data classes? Paytm will maintain a DB table where they will store all this information, all this information, all this information, all this information. So those DB tables fall under data classes. Okay, they fall under data classes. Similarly, Paytm will maintain a DB table to store the list of networks. Paytm will maintain a DB table, to store circle, means locations. So all these are data classes. Okay. Similarly, take an example of Amazon. Okay. Amazon will maintain a DB table to store and display the list of mobiles. All this comes from the data classes. So what do they store in the data class? They will store the image of the mobile, the description of the mobile, the price of the mobile, the discounts, XYZ. They will store everything in a DB table and they'll display. That is a data class. How about word classes? The sections, the flow actions, the flows. What are you seeing on this? When you click on the buy button, what will come next? The payment screen, the delivery address, XYZ, all those are work classes. Once you complete the transaction, order history is stored in the work class tables. Okay. Whereas whatever you see in the data that is coming, okay, let's say if you click on, you know, so all this comes from the data classes of Pega. They'll fetch all this from the data classes. Okay, so that is the difference. Now take another example of Go IBBO or Make My Trip or something, whatever it is. Now this screen, when I give the username and the password, they validate. All this is a part of the work class. When I click on the book button, it will take me to the page where I enter the travel, details like the names, the phone numbers of the passengers. All that is a part of the work class. Okay. Whereas the drop down with a list of locations comes from the data class. This one, list of locations, comes from the data class. Okay. And let's say I hit on the search flights, the list of flights coming from the data classes. Okay. Whereas if I click on the book button and I try to move forward, the sequence of screens, the validations, all those things will come from the work classes. So please understand that data classes means you will have some DB tables, you will insert some data into them and you will bring them and you will use them during the work object processing. Whereas work classes means you will have the sections, flow actions, flows, case types, SLAs, reports, validations, and all these things. And they will be used during the work object processing. And the work object data will be stored in the work class tables. Okay. So data classes will also have tables. Work classes will also have tables. Work classes will store the work object data. Data classes are like, the centralized repositories. You dump some data into them, you fetch them and you display on the screen like this. Like this you will be displaying. Hotels. List of hotels. How are they coming? It's all because of your data classes. Yes, please go ahead.
Nikhila, one doubt, please. Yeah.
Please.
From this, like, can we assume that all the functionalities which we are able to perform are saved under work class, and the UI wise, the data or anything which on the UI wise we see regarding the case, like data will be stored under data class? Can we assume that?
Right, you're right. So that's what I'm saying. All the business rules, okay? All the business rules fall under work class, whereas the static content that you display on the screen like this, they come from the data classes, like this one. List of locations in the drop down. Whatever locations you say, it is coming from a data class. So they will maintain a data class, they'll maintain a table, they will store all the locations, you will pull and display. This pulling is all happening in the work class, whereas the list of data I get from the data class. Now, when I hit on the search button, I'll see some list of hotels. It is coming from the data class. Okay, whereas if I click on the book button, I will see a sequence of screens to enter the data, to process the payment and all that. That is a part of the work class. Okay, only this is a part of the data class. This drop down is a part of the data class. That's how it works. Okay, any questions so far, guys? Avnish, is it clear? Avnish, are you in the session? Uh, Avnish, is it clear for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Deepika, is it clear?
Nikhila,
Yes, Nagraj.
Nikhila, for data class, like retrieving data and sending data to the data class, the data class will be used. But whereas in the work class, you mean to say, like for example, as you showed the PTM, if you are entering incorrect number or invalid number, it will show some error message to enter the right
Mhm.
thing. So whatever the message it is throwing, those type of SLAs or whatever it is there, we need to define in the work class. Am I right? This is my understanding.
Exactly right. Right. So that's what flows, sections, flow actions, validations, SLAs, reporting, all these come under work classes. Means basically the code. The code of your project sits under the work class. Now, what is data class? It's you're just storing some DB tables and some content inside it, and you will display it on the screens. Like list of mobiles, list of TVs, list of washing machines, list of flights, list of buses, list of hotels, list of locations, list of countries, list of states. They all fall under the data classes.
So, Nikhil, I have a question here. Like, if you
You mean to
want to
say,
customize,
Let Farheen
so
complete.
you,
Yeah, please. Mhm.
so if you want to customize the SLA, let's say I have multiple assignments with different SLAs on it, and I want to store it in the database. So in that case, I should be considering data class, right? Here.
No, no, no. Assignment is a part of the work object, right? So every single screen is assignment. It is nothing but work object data. So screen one, I'm entering the mobile number, my recharge plan. Screen two, I'm giving some coupon code. Screen three, I'm giving the payment details. It is all part of the work object data. So they will be stored under the work class tables.
Okay. Okay. But if you want to store the SLAs for all the assignments in a database, and we want to call that whenever we hit that assignment, in that case, we will still be calling the work class, or is it
See,
going to be that
SLA is
data
a
class?
rule in Pega, okay? SLA is a rule
Yeah.
in Pega. It is stored by Pega in its own table, okay?
Okay.
So we don't store it. You only create the rule and you trigger the rule. So
Okay.
creating this SLA rule happens in the work class,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. Okay. Sure.
So where each rule is stored in Pega, I'll come to that. For now, let's talk only about work and data classes because others don't know about all these things, right? So I'll come to that maybe in today's session or next sessions. I'll talk about them.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
So, did you understand the difference between work and data classes, guys? And most importantly, please understand that whether it is a work class or a data class, you will have a table mapped to it. Work class tables will store this one, work objects they will store. This work object data they will store. Data class tables will store whatever data you dumped into the table, like list of countries, list of states, list of hotels, list of flights, list of buses. That is what they are going to store. Okay. Now we are going to create a data class in your project. Then you will understand the difference between them.
Nikhila, a
Somebody has
small
a
question.
question.
Nikhila,
Please.
small question here. Nikhila, if you are showing a ID here, the claims ID, you are saying this will be stored in work class, but whereas this is a case ID, it will be in data class, no? If I'm not wrong, because in the previous classes, what we
Why it will be in data class? We didn't even learn about data classes till day. See,
learned. No,
this is
no.
work object ID, right? Work object ID is a part of the work class. See, anything which is a transaction, like you
Hmm.
take Google Pay, you made a fund transfer. So that is a transaction you made. That is a work object according to Google Pay's application. So that will be stored in the work class. So if you go here and if you open the table of the work class, PC underscore your table name will be the table names. Please remember that, guys. PC underscore class names will be the table names. PC underscore HDFC, this one is my table name, right? PC underscore class names are the table names for work classes. Now you can see here my whole work object data is being maintained here. Go to the utmost right, you can see all the properties that you created, right? Card number, card type, PC amount, grant or deny PC, transaction ID, all that. You can see the data that is entered, right? So this is a work class table, right? Work
Okay,
class. Work
Nikhila,
class
that,
tables will contain your transactions, your work objects. Data class tables will contain some static content which you want to display on the screen. See, I go to Amazon, I place 5 orders. Each order is a work object according to Amazon. So they will store it in a work object table. Whereas the list of mobiles that they display on Amazon comes from the data class. List of televisions that display on the screen comes from the data class. So those are all data classes. You store it static and you bring and you display. This is work object data. Every transaction you make in the application is a work object.
Nikhila, just rephrase my question here. So initially we have learned creating case IDs. Okay, if you do some transaction, case IDs will get generated. The case IDs normal.
Exactly.
The case IDs will get stored in work class. Am I right?
Yes, exactly. To take in terms of you again Amazon or Google Pay, every fund transfer you do will have a transaction ID. It is a part of the work class. Every order you buy under Amazon, it's an order ID. Order ID is a part of the work class.
Now I
Work
understood
class,
actually.
work class
Okay, now
instances, right? They are, see, this is work class. Single click, it is an instance of the work class.
now I understood, Nikhila. Thank you.
Okay, super. Now, whatever I select on the screen, guys, this is all a part of the work class tables. Whatever I select here, it's all a part of the work class. This is all work class. Okay. Whereas I will have a drop down called as list of countries, list of states, list of cities. That will be my data class. Okay. Now, anyways, let me move to the data classes in your application. So in your current project, I need some data tables. What are those data tables? Now, whenever you create a work object, okay, so this is an application going to be used by the customer support representative. So that person will ask you what is your card. You say Visa or Mastercard or Mastro, and he will decide based on the issue. He will decide whether it is fraud or non-fraud. Now you will enter the type of card. You'll enter the card number. Now, how does he validate whether the card number is correct or not? You will give some transaction ID. How does he validate whether transaction is correct or not? Transaction amount. How does he validate all this? So we have to maintain a DB table where this all has to be stored. So whenever a person swipes a card or whenever he does a fund transfer using hdfc.com or whenever he does a Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, any UPI transfer, okay, so that transaction details will get stored in a table, and that table we are going to use here to validate whether they entered the right data or not. So in real time, okay, we will have different applications. Like Paytm is separate, Google Pay, Phone Pay is separate, HDFC.com is different. So normal ATM swipe is different, normal tap and pay is different. So whenever a person makes any payment, we will have some services. Using the services, they will update the DB tables with all the transactions that is happening. Now this is the POC. All that is not possible. So what we will do is we will create our own custom table. We will dump some card numbers, transaction IDs, transaction amounts, and transaction dates, and we will use that against this data to validate the content given by the user. Okay. So what we are going to do is come to Data Type Explorer. I'm creating a new data class in my project. Add data type. Okay. So you have to say add data type. Just a second. Just checking whether we have these screenshots in the document or not. Otherwise, I will just recapture the screenshots. Looks like I have it. Okay. So the name of my table is transaction details. Okay. Now, just like adding a case type, whenever you add a new data type in Pega, Pega will create a new class for you which inherits from data dash class of Pega. So you are inheriting from data dash, not from work dash. As you keep moving, I'm also going to teach you int dash, index dash, rule dash, assign dash, and these things. So now you're inheriting from data dash class of Pega. See, work and data are siblings. Okay. So you don't look for work and data next, one below the other. They both are siblings. They don't have any inheritance. Okay. They are siblings. Now, submit. So I'm going to create a data class in my project. Means actually I'm creating a DB table where I'm going to dump some data and I'm going to use it in my work object, maybe to display in a drop down, maybe to display like a table like an Excel sheet, or maybe to validate the content entered by the user. I'm going to use it as per my choice. End of the day, I'm creating a DB table and dumping some data in it. So this is my new class. You can see here data dash transaction details is my new class. You can even go to the app explorer, the place where you see all your classes. Remove the word work because work and data are siblings, right? Now look for data dash transaction details. Here is your class. Okay. Now going back to my work again. So for easy access, what I will do is I can pin my classes here so that I can easily access them. Instead of always erasing the names and typing the names, better to pin them like this. I can pin a class like this. See? Easy access. Perfect. Now you created a data class. How about a table? Your end goal is to create a table and store some data on it. How do you create a table? In order to create a table, first you have to mention the columns in the table. Can we create a table without columns? No. So first mention the columns in the table. Add field. Okay. So first I would need something called as transaction ID. This text, okay, because we don't do any mathematical functions on it, and transaction ID is a lengthy number. Integer cannot hold it. So I'm going for text. Transaction date. This is supposed to be a date. You can't take it as text. Transaction amount. This can't be text because I may do some additions and subtractions on this. So please take it as integer. Integer. Okay. So transaction ID, transaction amount, transaction date. What else do we need? Card number, account number. That's it. This is the last one. Transaction ID, date, amount, card and account number. That's it. Now I have to enter data in this table. Now table creation is done. I have to enter data in it. So remember, you have to go to records, not sources, records. Okay. So in order to enter data in my table, I have to go to records. Okay. Only for the first time, you will see this button configure source. Why? I have to mention the primary key of this table. It is mandatory. You have to mention the primary key for this table. So click on configure source. Okay. I'm going to make transaction ID is the primary key because this is something unique. Because on same account I can make multiple transactions. On same card number I can make multiple transactions. So only thing that will be unique is transaction ID. Use as key means I'm marking this as a key. Key means unique one. Okay, unique. It will be unique. Now, if you go to the utmost bottom, you see there is something called as data pages getting created. Remember this, I'll teach you this topic later. Just remember that there is something getting created like this. Okay. If you don't want, you can remove it. I don't want it, so I'm removing it. Okay. Now, submit. Okay. Just a second. Now, so my table is created. Okay. How do I access it again? If I want to access it tomorrow, how do I access it? Just come to Data Type Explorer. You will see your table transaction details. A single click on it. Okay. These are the columns under this table. And this is the place where you can enter the data under this table. So I can add some data like this. Give something easy. Okay. Just give me 1 second, guys. Yeah. So now you have to enter some data under this table like this. I'm giving something which is easy for me to remember because you have to use this throughout the training. N number of times I have to use it. Every now and then I have to use it. So I'm giving something which is easy for me to remember. Okay. Enter multiple rows of data, at least 6 rows of data, please, so that you'll have something good while testing. And multiple rows of data for the same account and card numbers. So for the same account and card numbers, at least 3 to 5 transactions like this. Few on the same date again. Now, no need to click on the save button, guys. Just if you click outside, it will be automatically saved. No need to click on the save button. See, 2 on the same day for same card and account number. Now I'm going on a different date. Okay, like this, add some data.
Nikhil, I could see export import option, so I should be able to export
Yes, yes, you
both
can
from.
export it into an Excel and you can import it from an Excel. Even that is possible. Okay, now I'm going to give her a different account and card number. Just for different combinations, please try to give. Just giving it a different date. Okay. So just 6666 and okay. For same card and account number, just try to maintain multiple transactions. Few on the same day, few on a different date. Okay. Yes. Just add good number of data, guys, so that you'll have good number of data while testing the work objects. I'm done. Okay. Now, so all this is done. My table creation is done. I would like to see this table in the database. So I'll just go here. Okay. Before that, if you want to know the name of your table, always go to that class and say definition. In the class definition, you will see the table names, right? I have shown you in the previous classes. Same way here. If I want to know the name of my table, test connection, you can say this, it is in the data schema, PR underscore HDFC finance data transactions. So it is exactly same like your class name, HDFC finance data transactions. So it is exactly same like your class name, hyphens replaced with underscores. Now the only difference is you see PR here. For work classes, you will see PC. Work class tables will have a prefix PC. Data class tables will have a prefix PR. There is nothing to do with those prefixes, guys. Nobody is going to even ask you in the interviews. PC and PR. Work classes will have PC prefix. Data classes will have PR as the prefix. Okay. Now go to the database, refresh it once because just now you created the table, right? Now look for PR because it's a data class table. Please remember it's a data class table PR and it has to start with your class name. Alphabetical order. PR underscore here HDFC. See whatever data you entered there is here. Okay. So this is how you create a data class in Pega. Just go to data type explorer, say add data type, a class is created. That's it. Add columns, add primary keys, add records of data. Now go to the DB, you should see the same table. Now, I gave only these things in the table. How did this come? PX commit date, PX create date, PX create operator. You can see a lot of things with the prefix PX are found here. If you see in the work class, you will see a lot starting with PX, starting with PY. You see here all PYs and a lot starting with PZ as well. Let me move. You can see this PZ. Okay. Similarly, when you create a work object, if I go to PY work page, it is the most important page on the clipboard which contains the entire work object data, right? Here also you will see a lot of properties which start with PX, PY and PZ. Now few important things that you need to know about them. PX, PY, PZ properties are Pega's properties. Okay. Px and Pz are read only. Means if you want to change the data in them, you cannot change. They are read only properties. Py is editable. Now, just theoretically good to know, you have nothing to do with them. Px means it is used by Pega for internal processing. While processing the work object, they use it. Pz, when you trigger some code called as activities and all, they will be used. Py not used for internal processing, that is the reason it is editable. Just good to know, nothing to do with. But it is a very important interview question. They ask you what are these Px, Py, Pz properties. Just tell them that Px and Pz is read only, Py is editable, and most importantly, we can never create a property name starting with prefix px, py, or pz. They are reserved only for Pega. So you and me who are the developers of Pega can never ever create a property starting with the word px, py, or pz. They are reserved keywords and can be used only by Pega. We cannot create such kind of properties. Very important to remember this. Okay. So even if you see here
So,
on the clipboard, you
Nikhil,
have an edit button. Let me complete. You have an edit button here to edit the data on the clipboard. If you see here, see px is not editable. Oh, 1 minute. Something went wrong. Yeah, is my screen visible, guys?
we
Yes,
can see your
Nikhila. Yes.
clipboard screen.
Okay, right. I'm on the clipboard. Okay, so you can see none of the PX are editable. Whereas for the PY, you can see the box to edit the data. And similarly for PZ, it is not editable. You can see these are all read onlys. Okay, so only PY is editable, PX and PZs are not editable. And remember, you can never ever create a property starting with PX, PY, PZ as the prefix. Okay, now what are all these properties? They are all Pega's built-in properties. What is Pega doing with them? Pega is storing some data. Okay, if you take a work object, Pega will maintain when did you commit this work object, when did you save this work object, when did you create, when did you update, who created, who updated. So like this, Pega will maintain all the data, who created, what is the user ID of the person who created it, what is the work object ID, what is the class, everything they will maintain here. So Pega maintains all the details, for your work object processing in its PX, PY, and PZ properties. Okay, so that is the reason you see a lot of PX, PY, PZ stuff in the work objects. They are all required for Pega to process your work object. And now, very most important columns in this table. Three columns are extremely important in your tables. One is PYID. PYID contains the work object IDs. So remember, the most important column in your table is PYID. It contains the work object ID. Okay. What is the next important column? Scroll. I'm just looking for the PZs to come. Where are the PZs? Yes, here. PZINS key. Why is this important? For all Pega's work class tables. Okay. You will see PZINS key as the primary key of the table. See, for data class, you defined, right? Okay, I want transaction ID as a primary key, or I want account number as a primary key, or I want card number as a primary key. I can define myself what I want as a primary key. Whereas for the work classes, Pega will decide that PZINS key is the primary key. It is called as PZINS key. So in this Pega will maintain your class name and your work object ID combination as a key. Okay. PYID contains your work object ID. PZINS key, the primary key for most of the Pega's built-in tables, which is a combination of the class name and the keys which we define. Okay. I'll tell you where we define the keys and all. In the next class, I'll tell you. It will be like too much of overload if I discuss all these things. Now,
Uh,
third most, let me complete it, guys.
Nikhil,
The third, yeah, let me complete the third one also, then we'll discuss. The third most important column in your table, PZPV stream. Why is it so important? You can see all these columns data is in a readable format. You're able to read the data. Whereas this one, look at it, it is in binary format. Means here the data is stored in the form of zeros and ones. And you can't read the data, see? Even if you do a mouse over or you click on it, nothing. It's in a non-readable format. First of all, what are you storing inside this? We are storing the entire PY work page data in this. So whatever is present on your PY work page, the whole thing, or I should say, this entire row of data is just stored in a single cell called as PZPV stream, or entire transaction information, or the whole PY workpage content is just stored in a single cell called as PZPV stream. Why are they storing like this? We are already storing the data like this, right, in exposed columns. You can see the card number, account number, everything is being stored like this. What is the necessity to again compress and store it in the form of blob? Just two reasons. One, we want to save some space. Okay. Like for example, I have a folder with a lot of documents. If I want to send an email to anyone, what will I do? I will zip it, I will compress it, I will send it. So when you zip it, what is happening? The size of the folder gets reduced. So you are saving the space. That is one reason we go for PZPV stream. Second reason, data security. It is in the form of blob. So nobody can read the data, tamper the data, or play with the data or spoil anything here. Okay. So data security you get. Okay. Now you may have a question, Nicola. Anyways, data is available like this, right? You can read the data and do whatever you wish. Then what is the benefit you get with this one? See, generally in real-time projects, we do not wish to have exposed columns like this. We try to maintain maximum data within the PZPV stream only. We do not maintain exposed columns like this. Then what do we do? First of all, look at this. You have so many properties here, right? Visa Tran ID, Visa Chargeback Reason Code, Transaction ID, lot of properties are there. Go to the DB table. Do I have that many columns? Where is this Visa Tran ID, MasterCard Tran ID? See this? You don't see, right? Network is there, account number is there, a lot of them are there. But Visa Tran ID, MasterCard Tran ID is not there. And also, like, look, count the number of columns you see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 columns. Do I have more than 19 properties here? Count. Yes, I have more than 19 properties here. Close to 23 or 24 I have. So some of the properties do not have columns. Why is that so? Answer is simple. When you create a field or a property, okay, from here, okay, when you create something from here, I created a field called as test data, right? Save your changes. Go to the DB table. Go to the extreme right. Where is this test data? Maybe not refreshed. Allow me a minute. Let me refresh it. Did I save this? Save, right? You see there's a column called as test data automatically created. So whenever you create a property from the case type rule, automatically corresponding column is created in the DB table. And if you enter any data, automatically data will get come and get stored here. Let's say I create a work object. Okay, go to screen 2. In screen 2, I have test data. I entered something in that. Click on submit. Now come to database table. Okay, look for this test data column. So whatever data you enter in the property, it will automatically get stored in the table under that particular column. Where is this test data? Here. Whatever I entered, see, it's in the last, this one. So like that, every property will have a column tagged to it. Whatever data you enter in that property, it will come and sit in the DB table under that column. Okay, very good. But for some properties, we didn't have columns in the DB table, right? Let me show you that example also. Now I went to the App Explorer. I'm just creating a property like this. Create, you know, test input. Okay, create and open, save. Now refresh my DB table. Okay, now let's go and look for that column test input. Just taking a second to refresh. Let it refresh. You will find the column. You don't find the column, right? What is the reason? Anyone? Can you tell me the difference? Anyone?
You have not mapped this property to our,
Sections? Is
not
it the
section.
reason? Mhm.
Yeah, you have not mapped the.
Mapped it into the section. Okay, let me do that then. Let's see. Just below test data, I'm going to map another property called as test input. Dot test input. Okay, submit, save, create a work object. Okay, in test input, I'm entering some data. Submit. Now come to your DB table, refresh it, run the query. Go to the utmost right, there you'll find your columns. See, I don't see any column called as test input. I only see test data. There is no column called as test input. So where is my data gone? Where is my column gone?
I think
We
I'm
haven't
lost.
added this from case type, right? That could be the
Case
reason.
table projection. I think
So
flow.
who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Farheen? Perfect. That is right,
Yeah.
guys. So whenever you add something from the case type explorer, okay, if you go to case type and if you go over here, configure view, and you add any property here, Pega will automatically create a column for that here and it will store the data in it. Whereas if you do something from the app explorer, right click on data model and say create property, then there is no column maintained here, no data stored. Then is my data lost? Am I not maintaining the data anywhere? No, we are maintaining the data. Anyone, can you tell me where the data is getting stored in this case?
In the records, we can see.
No, no. PZPV stream, I told you, right? Entire work object data will be stored in PZPV stream. Even here in this, your data is not lost, right? If you go to the clipboard, if you go to PY work page, the test input is having data. So entire PY work page will get into PZPV stream. So whatever is present in the PY work page, that is completely stored in PZPV stream. So in this blob, your data is there. It is not lost. Just that you don't have a dedicated column for test input. That's it. But your data is not lost. So in the PZPV stream, Pega will segregate and it will store the data. Like for this property, this is the content inside it. Just you don't have an exposed column like this for test input, but the data is not lost. Data is still maintained in the DB table in a column called as PZPV stream. So for secured columns like social security number, PIN numbers, any secured data, generally we don't prefer to maintain an exposed column like this. We will store them in the PZPV stream. One is security purpose. Second thing is you want to compress the data and store. So in real time, as much as possible, we try to create the properties from here so that the data is compressed and stored. Okay. And whereas if you do the bulk property creation, yesterday I have taught you this option, right? If you do this way, again the columns will be created in the DB table. Okay. Only when you do this way, it gets stored under PZPV stream. Otherwise, they will have dedicated columns created. So if you have a property and the column is not found in the DB table, don't panic. Data is stored in PZPV stream. Okay. Now, what if I want to have a dedicated exposed column like this for my test data property? Can I do that? Of course, you can do. Okay. How and what? I'll teach you. For now, let's pause it here. Please understand that every class, every concrete class in Pega will have a table. If it is a work class, the prefix is PC underscore class name. If it's a data class, prefix is PR followed by the class name. Most important columns in the table, PYID, which contains the work object ID. Where is that? Maybe I passed. Okay. Then you have PZ key, which is the primary key of the class. And then you have PZ stream, which is the blob column. Okay. So these are the important things. And PZ stream contains the entire work object data. So whatever is present on the, what do you say that work page, everything comes into your PZ stream blob column. Any questions so far, guys?
Yes, Nikhila, I had question on the PY property where we are editing it, right? So what is the purpose, sole purpose of editing the Pega, existing Pega property? Can you give us one example? When do
Sometimes,
we edit that?
sometimes when you want to change some values, you may edit it. Like let's say, for example, have a look at them once. PY work page. Okay, see PY description. Maybe some description, maybe some title you want to enter. Okay, sometimes you want to change the flow details. Maybe the flow is broken, the work object is broken. Maybe you want to enter some data and reroute the flows. Something like this you want to do, if you do it. Labels, just a label. Okay, these kind of things, if you want to update, you can update. SLA information,
So,
SLS I haven't taught you. Once you learn SLS,
hmm
you'll get to know.
so basically, like if you're debugging something and we want to go ahead with the flow, if there is any blockage, then we might be using
Ah,
this option, right?
yes,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Thanks, Nikhil.
Okay. So with this, I want to end today's session, guys, because if I teach anything more, it'll be an overload for you. However, I'm going to give you an homework on creating data tables in both healthcare and banking project. So I want you to create the tables and enter the data. Okay. Now, any questions so far, guys, on data classes, on PZ Dynasty, PZ PV stream, PYID, or anything
Yeah,
on page, page list, page group, value, value list, value group?
unique PYID also unique for each work object and PZINSK also primary key, right? What makes the
Right.
difference between?
Yes, very important. Good question. Now, if I open my class, this is the class where I'm creating my work objects. Open the definition. Generally, for every concrete class, you will have a table mapped, and the table details I'll find here, right? Now, in the class itself, you also have to mention the primary key of the table. What is the key of the table? You have to mention. Now, if you see here, I wrote belongs to a class group, means I'm sharing the table of my parent. So if I'm sharing my parent table, my parent will mention what are the keys of the table. I will not mention because I don't have a table of my own. I'm sharing my parent's table. Okay, then let me go to my parent class and see. If I go to my parent class, let me open from here. This is not the way to open. Let me open from here. This is my parent class. Say definition. Okay. Now you can see here they are mentioning the keys of this table. Okay. They mentioned that PYID should be the key of this table. So like this, we mentioned the keys. Now how is PZINS key coming? PZINS key is always a combination of your class name plus whatever keys you define here. Okay. PYID contains work object ID. That is okay. How is PZINS key coming? It is always a combination of your class name and whatever keys you define here. Let me give you another example. Data admin operator ID is a Pega's built-in class, okay, where they will store all your operator IDs. Nikhila at goibbo.com, Nikhila at hdfc.com, all these operator IDs, okay, everything is stored in this table. Okay, let me look at the definition of this. Okay, you have the table name, you have the keys. Oh, this is a data class, right? Sorry. Let me take any work classes. Allow me a minute. Mm, let me take any work classes, guys. Just give me a second. Or let me take any. Just taking some Pega's built-in work classes. Okay, some Pega's built-in class. Okay, I'm taking. Now, if you see here, they mentioned that. Oh, they also have PYID. Mm, I'll do one thing. I'll create my own class. I'm creating my own class. Okay, create. sysadmin class. Okay, I'm calling it as work dash test. Okay, I'm creating a test class. This is a concrete class. Take some version. Okay, is a class group means I'm going to have my own table. I'm not going to share anybody's table. Okay, now they're asking you what is the key column of your table. Let's say I will say PYID, and also I will take another property. Whatever property you want, you can say that is the key column. Okay, so there is a property called as test, you see. Okay, I'm taking that as my keys. You can add as many properties as you want. Okay, so I took two as my keys. Two keys I took. Okay, now perfect. Now just click on the save button. History. You have to write the purpose of this rule. Why did you create this rule? Where are you going to use this rule? In the history, we generally maintain that. Okay, I just wrote for testing. I have created it. Now I created a class. Okay, I didn't create any table. Pega will automatically create the table. Look at this. PC underscore my class name is my table name. Okay, perfect. Now create any work object under this class. First refresh it. Okay, I have a class. Okay, I have a table. Create any work object, then you can see the data in the PZ Dynasty column. So for creating a work object, I need any case type or any flow. Otherwise, I can't create work objects, right? So what I'll do is I'll first create a flow for this. Process flow. I'm just creating something called as my new flow. Okay. And in the process tab, you should have this checkbox, create a new work object. See, this is an old way of creating work objects, guys. In lower versions of Pega, this is how we used to create a work object, because in those days, we didn't have case type rule. So this is how we used to create work objects. Now I'm creating a work object. Okay. Now on the flow action, I need a flow action and a section, right? So let me quickly create a flow action and a section. Create user interface section. Just creating a test section. Just trying to teach you how the PZ dynasty is getting formed. Okay, so I created a section. Sections I have to embed it inside a flow action, right? So under process category, flow action, flow actions hold section inside them, right? Doing it. Now back to the flow. Assignment outgoing connector will have the flow action. Submit, save. Okay. Now let me create a work object and try how it will work. Sorry, where's my flow? Mm. This is new hardness, guys. Okay, it has some mandatory fields. So it is asking me to fill the data. I'm just filling the data. What is wrong? Okay, I'm giving the value of test. Look at this, 2233. Okay, is the value of test. Perfect, done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to the DB table to look at the value of PZ key for the new class that I have created. First, refresh it. It is a work class, so it will start with the prefix PC followed by HDFC. This is my class, right? Test is my class. Now look at the table data. I'm primarily looking for PZINS key. PZINS key, where are you? Yes, look at this. Class name followed by, oh, why is this? One second. No, it is not captured properly. One second. It should be class name followed by work object ID followed by the value of test. Okay, because you gave the value of test as another key, right? Mm, see, test is the another key, right? It has to store test as well. Just give me a minute. Maybe because it is not an exposed column, it is not coming. Just give me a minute. See, whatever you mention here, that combination is PZ key. So class name followed by PYID, which means it is work object ID, followed by that whatever value you gave in test should be visible here. Just allow me a minute, maybe because it is not an exposed column, it's not coming here. I'll do one thing. I'll create another property test in my class and I'll expose it. Exposing and all I'll teach you in the later sessions, guys. Okay, don't want to cover all that right now, it'll be like too much hectic for you. This is new hardness. Okay, ignore it. Okay, I'm just entering some value here under test. Submit. Is it because it says I have lost the ability? That could be a reason my data is not getting stored. Just a moment. Yeah, see, my data is not getting stored. That is the reason PZINSK is not holding that value. My work object is getting corrupted before I submit. Just allow me a minute. If you have the value of test, that should come in the PZINSK. Just give me a second. What I will do is, it's all from work dash cover dash. Hmm, just give me a second, guys. Need to save as. Instead of this, I want to show from the screen so that I can enter. Not sure what is going wrong. It is getting corrupted. Okay, let me look into this issue and show you in the next session, guys. However, I just want you to show that, if you enter some value for test there, okay, your PZ key will be a combination of your class name, followed by the work object ID PYID, followed by the whatever value you gave in test. So the important thing that you need to understand here is PZINS key is a combination of class name plus whatever keys you define here. If you give 5 properties, all the 5 property values plus class name will be the PZINS key. That's how PZINS key gets formed. Okay, because I am facing issue in submitting the screen, my value of test is not going to DB, so it is not coming. Otherwise, class name plus PYID plus test will be the PZINS key. That's how it gets formed. Okay, I'll complete this and I'll show you before the next session. So any questions on this, guys? On PYID, PZ key, PV stream, data classes, work classes, and types of properties.
Yeah, in the data classes, let's say we have entered 10 records. After that, I am adding one more column. In that case, the data will lose.
No, why will it get lost? It will get appended.
I am creating a new column.
No, it will not get lost. You can always add a new column. Suppose I want to add a new column, I can do like this. Submit.
Okay, so
And now go to
previously,
records. Let me complete it. See, you don't see the new column here. Do a refresh. See, you see it. Enter the data. That's it.
okay.
Okay, no problem. Okay, anyone else? Any other queries, guys?
Nikhila, in real-time
Yes.
project, these table creations will be done by developers or architects.
No, only developers will do all these things.
Okay.
Okay, you don't need LSS for this. You get to know, like based on the requirement, you get to know what table and what columns you'll get to know. As I told you, everything you will get from the business analyst. So the business analyst is a person who is going to talk to the client and get you the requirements. So you will get the requirements either drafted in a Word document or in some tools like Jira. They will write down very clearly what they want. Okay, so based on the requirement, line to line, you have to follow and you have to create everything.
Nikhila, can you tell once about PZPV stream?
PZPV stream contains the entire work object information. So whatever you enter in screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, screen 4, screen 10, everything that you enter in the work object data will be stored in the PZPV stream in the form of blob. Means in zeros and ones they are storing. In a non-readable format they are storing. Or you can always say whatever is present on the PY work page gets into PZPV stream. Okay. So whole
Okay.
work object data is stored in PZPV stream. Suppose if you're booking a flight, whatever you entered in screen 1, the from location and to location, the date, screen 2, which flight you have chosen, screen 3, what payment mode you have chosen, how much amount you paid. So whole work object information is stored in PZPV stream.
Okay.
Hi, Nikhila. One question.
Mhm.
When you already have an exposed columns, like separate exposed columns for the work object data, why does the PV stream is storing all the information?
Just compressed data we are storing. You
Not the,
compress and you store it.
I mean, is there any usage or just the column usage is to store the binary data?
See, compressing and storing is always good, right? We save the memory, we save the space. So by default, always Pega stores in PZPV stream. Having an exposed column or not is your choice. Okay. So tomorrow, if you want to drop it, you can even drop it. You don't want an exposed column, you can drop it, but still the data will get maintained in PZPV stream. So compressing is having two benefits. One, space issue. Second is like security issue. We are addressing those two issues using that blob column.
Okay, thank you.
Super.
Nicola, for a data table, suppose if I am creating a one of the column as a primary key, I want to create one more after entering the data. I want to make other column also primary key. So in that case, is it possible?
For any existing table, for work class tables or data class tables, if you want to add new keys or remove existing keys and give something else, it is possible. But just like in regular database, suppose you go to Oracle or SQL Server, go to any database, directly create a table there. Okay. Like you go here, create a table. Okay. Create some table here. Directly create some table here. Like this, create table, create some table. Now enter some data. Now you try to change the keys. The database will not allow you to change the keys until and unless you remove all the records in it. So data table should be completely empty without any data. Only then you can change the keys. Same thing is applicable to Pega. Okay. You create any work class table, any data class table. Okay. If you want to change the keys of this table, first thing is remove all the content in the table. Only then you can change it. Now, where will I change the keys? In the class, you will change the keys. Okay. So you have to go to the class and you can change the keys here. See, as of now, it is read only. You can't change it. When will this become editable? Only when your complete table is empty. Okay. Remove every single record. Come here, change the keys, save your changes, then come back and enter the data. So this is because that is how database behaves. In a database, if you want to change the keys, first you have to remove all the content in the table, truncate the table, then and change the keys and then enter the data. If you have data, they will not allow you to change the keys. Same thing when you do from Pega.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay, super.
Nikhila, hi Nikhila. Hello.
Yes, Sharath. Hello.
Uh, could you repeat the same thing tomorrow? So one thing like revise.
Sharath, that is the reason you have recordings, right? You can play the recording and you can listen.
Completely new
Why do you
concept.
want me to sit and revise again?
It's not like that, but completely new concept now. That's why I'm asking.
Right.
Uh,
So, guys, what I'm doing is tomorrow I'm planning to cancel the session. The reason is many of you are not up to date with the banking project as well. So, please take some time tomorrow and till the next session, which is on Friday. Make sure you complete both healthcare and banking till data tables creation. Okay. So, I'll give you an homework on the banking and healthcare project, what tables to be created.
okay, Nikhila.
Okay, so please take out some time, completed everything till DB tables in both the projects, guys. No more pending things on next Friday. Okay, take it on priority. Whole of today you have, whole of tomorrow you have. Okay, no pending things from next Friday, guys. Try to complete everything. Especially banking takes precedence after that healthcare. Okay, banking is something which is going in the class, right? So I want you to be up to date with banking first, then think about healthcare. Any other questions before we wrap today's session?
Yeah. In DB, there is a table PC underscore history along with the same class name. So when we use that PC underscore history,
We don't use the tables. We don't use generally. We don't use history tables. So Pega maintains history tables, history classes for its own. Okay, we don't touch those things. If you see here, even you will find history tables here. Also, you will find like if you go to, don't worry, you are not going to use them anyways.
Yeah, hi
You can
Nikhila.
see history
So this is
classes are
Ram.
also there if you see. Okay, this is all Pega will maintain them. You don't use them. Yes, please tell me.
Yeah, hi Nikhila.
Hello, Ramu.
Yeah, do you have any access about the PG admin for like in real time database, which we are using in real time?
Didn't get your question.
No, actually, if we are using PG admin for here in my personal laptop, no. So like
right?
that in database we have access and we are doing any modifications or records insert
So
in
in
the
real
data
time,
option.
we can use any database case. Most of us are not using actually PG admin in real time, okay? Because
Yes, yes.
various reasons, generally we are using Oracle. I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
Oracle most of the times, okay? And as yes, we do have access to database, okay? So we do have access to database. Just for looking at the data, we do. Sometimes, in small projects where you don't have a database administrator, you yourself have to go ahead and create tables, any scripts you have to run, anything you want to do, you have to do it. Whereas in big projects and big organizations, you have DBAs. So you have to write the script and you have to send it to them, raise a ticket to the team, they will work on it. But yes, we do have access to the DB. We query the tables, we look at the data, we do all such kind of things. But only like creating, dropping tables, inserting data, you may or may not have access. You have to get the access, or in certain scenarios they don't even give you access. In that case, you have to give the scripts, the SQL you have to write, and you have to give it to the DB team and they will execute it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, hi Nikhila.
Hello.
Yeah, like we've created properties for chargeback, right? Creating it in the bulk properties.
Right.
I have some doubt in that. In the configure view, we are getting the type as text for all those things for drop down also.
Hmm.
But if we
Right.
create in the case type, we do get it as drop down pick list and all. But if we create it from the bulk properties, right, we are getting the type as what to say, text for all those things. Is it expected?
Right. Right. It is
Uh,
expected. You have to open the property and enter the values in that case.
no, the type I'm asking. If you
The
give me
type you can
access, I
change
can
whatever.
share.
No, I can show you. See, you can see on my screen. You can enter whatever you want and then you can change the type here, right? Okay, you can
No,
change
it is
whatever
all
you want.
displaying good. I mean the drop down and all. If you check in the configure view in the
Is this
case,
the one you're talking about, or you're talking from a different screen? So here also you can give
no,
drop down
from
and all.
case
Even
type,
you have to say
from the
pick
case,
list. Yeah, you can say drop down radio
this is
button.
all
You can do
working
from
fine. And this display as
this is the place you're asking, right? This is not configure view. This is that
no,
bulk
not
property
this
wizard.
place, not this place. If we
This is
add
the one.
properties like this, and if we check in the configure view in the case type,
Hmm.
yeah,
Oh, so you want me to add a property first from here, right?
yeah,
Okay. So let me, delete
and
the test property and recreate. Test one. Okay, I gave it as should I give it as text or do you want me to change it to pick list or something?
pick list.
Pick list drop down. I'll give some values. 1, 2, submit. Go to your case type. Okay. Take any screen. Existing fields you will see here, guys. Whatever properties you already created, you will find them here. So I created a property called as test one. I want to reuse it. Test one. Okay. Click on the plus icon. It will come on the right side like this. Okay. It's a pick list, you see. It remains the same, no change.
Maybe for me it is displaying as drop down while we execute the screens and all. But
Yeah,
when we
pick
check
list is a
here,
drop down, right? I have selected it
yeah,
as a
yeah,
drop
I
down.
get it, I
So
get
it is.
it, I get it. But here for me it is displaying as text. Maybe. But the
Can
actual
you share?
field is pick list and it is displaying good on screen.
No. How did you create it? Can you share me a screen once, Lavanya?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me make you the presenter. Please share me your screen. Yeah, we can see the screen. Which one you're talking about? Lavanya, you're on mute just in case if you're speaking.
Oh, sorry, I was speaking on mute. Okay, it was drop down. I've created it as drop down and all. Now it is displaying as text. Okay, not sure.
Which property?
Yes. All these properties, visa, BR, reason code.
How did you map them to the section? Did you manually map them to the sections?
Yes.
See, when you manually map them to the sections, maybe you have taken the control as text box. That is the reason text box is coming.
Okay.
You should take drop down here only, then it will come as a drop down.
No, I have taken drop down here. Again, it has changed. Okay.
Can you
Maybe
click on
while
the edit
creating,
button?
I've taken it as text box. Can we change this in the property
Of
now?
course.
Or,
No, 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 no.
okay.
Here itself you have to change. How it has to display something desired in the section. Okay, not in the properties. So open the double click on the cell properties and change it to drop down. Yeah, at the top you see it is text input. At the top, change it. Click on the change button. No, no, not on the open button. There's a change button. Go to the previous screen. Yeah, click on the change. Select it as drop down. Second row, second column.
Okay.
Drop down.
Yeah.
Submit and save. Now it works. Okay. So how it has to display something decided in the section. So make sure in the section it is a
I
drop
have
down.
changed
Otherwise,
this
it
and
will
I've
come.
executed it, but again, not sure
Maybe it
what
is
is
not saved. Just
happening.
save it. Save your changes and go to that old work object which you have. You can use Control S as well if you want. And go
Okay.
to that old work object which you have and go to actions and say refresh. On the left top you have actions, right? Say actions and say refresh. Left side top just below the blue bar.
Okay. Yeah.
Now open the work object. You will get a go button. Click on it and open the work object. Right side you see go.
Yeah.
Now you get a drop
Okay.
down.
And
Okay,
one
just
more
that you
thing.
didn't refresh it.
Yeah, the first option can be select or something like that, right? How can we change that, Nikhila?
Yeah, I'll
If
teach you.
we,
There is something
yeah.
called as placeholder in the cell settings. I'll teach you all that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So that's it for today. We are at the top of the hour. Any
Uh,
further queries, please? Yes.
Nikhila, please, 1 minute, please. So for
Yeah,
this
sure.
PG Admin 4, I'm facing some difficulty. Can I share my screen and show you once, like looking for
Okay.
small help from you?
Okay, Krishna, you and Haripriya, can we connect after some time? Just around
Yeah,
10:30,
sure.
shall we connect? Okay, use the same meeting
Yeah,
link. Please connect at
okay.
10:30, Krishna and Haripriya. We'll look into the PG admin issues. Okay,
Sure,
Haripriya, in
sure.
the
Yeah.
meanwhile, please install Pega again. Remove the
Okay.
database Haripriya, uninstall PG admin and reinstall Pega. We'll look into it.
Actually, right now I'm having Pega. Just I have uninstalled it. Uh, older software is with me only.
Right.
Hello.
So uninstall PG admin, uninstall Pega and reinstall Pega. We'll look into it.
Okay, Nikhila.
Okay. Okay, guys,
Hi,
then.
hi,
Thank you
Nikita.
so
I'm
much.
sorry.
Yeah, Ahmed.
Yeah, could you just please make the all the videos you already uploaded not private, because it's open, just open in
Okay,
one window
okay, one
like a
second, guys.
previous
So,
videos.
okay, see, if the videos are not opening, it means that you didn't log in into YouTube. Please
No, no,
log
no.
in into
It's
YouTube with the
open.
email
It's
ID.
open, but it's private. It's when I open the when I link
Right, you have
the.
to log in into YouTube with the Gmail ID that you have given me for approval. So with that Gmail ID, if you log in into YouTube, you will be in a position to
Okay,
watch the videos. Okay.
okay,
So in
okay,
case if you just logged into Gmail, you did not log in into YouTube, then you will not be able to play the videos.
okay.
Or if
That's
you're in
great.
a YouTube with a different account, then you will not be able to play the videos.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you, Nikita.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Bye
bye bye.
bye.